Decolonizing African Museums: How Institutions Are Rethinking the Presentation of Heritage. In the halls of museums across the African continent, a profound reckoning is underway, one that challenges the long-held assumptions, biases, and power dynamics that have traditionally defined the curation and presentation of cultural heritage. From Kenya to Senegal, a new generation of museum professionals, curators, and cultural activists are leading a movement to decolonize these institutions, transforming them into dynamic, inclusive, and authentically African spaces that amplify the diverse narratives, perspectives, and artistic expressions of the continent. At the heart of this transformative shift is a deep-rooted desire to reclaim the ownership and interpretation of African cultural heritage, which has long been shaped by the legacies of colonial rule and the unequal power dynamics that have characterized the global museum landscape. For decades, African artifacts, artworks, and ancestral remains have been housed in the collections of Western institutions, often with little regard for the cultural significance, spiritual connections, or rightful ownership claims of the communities from which they originated. But now, a growing number of African museums are boldly challenging this colonial legacy, repatriating looted or illegally acquired objects and implementing innovative curatorial approaches that center the voices, experiences, and creative visions of local communities. In Nigeria, for instance, the Benin Royal Museum has emerged as a pioneering example of this decolonial movement, working tirelessly to repatriate the iconic Benin bronzes and rethink the ways in which the kingdom's rich cultural heritage is presented and celebrated. Similarly, in Kenya, the National Museum of Kenya has undertaken a comprehensive overhaul of its exhibits and programming, moving away from the static, Eurocentric displays of the past, and instead embracing dynamic, participatory approaches that invite visitors to engage with the country's diverse cultural narratives. Through interactive workshops, immersive installations, and collaborative community projects, these new museum initiatives are fostering a deeper sense of ownership, pride, and empowerment among Kenyan citizens. Beyond the physical confines of museum walls, the decolonial movement is also manifesting in the digital realm, as African institutions leverage technology to expand the reach and accessibility of their collections. The Smithsonian's National Museum of African Art, for instance, has pioneered the use of virtual and augmented reality to offer audiences around the world unprecedented access to its vast holdings of African artworks, allowing them to explore these cultural treasures through innovative, immersive experiences. Underpinning this transformative shift in the African museum landscape is a profound commitment to centering the voices, perspectives, and creative visions of the continent's diverse communities. By actively engaging with local stakeholders, incorporating traditional knowledge systems, and empowering indigenous artists and custodians, these institutions are challenging the long-standing colonial narratives that have historically framed the presentation of African heritage. This decolonial approach extends beyond the mere repatriation of artifacts or the rewriting of museum labels. It is a holistic reconfiguration of institutional power structures, curatorial methodologies, and educational programming, one that seeks to dismantle the systemic biases and inequalities that have long plagued the global museum ecosystem. However, the path to this decolonial transformation is not without its challenges. Issues of limited funding, capacity constraints, and the need for more robust international cooperation and repatriation efforts have all posed significant obstacles for African museums. The COVID-19 pandemic has only exacerbated these challenges, forcing institutions to adapt and innovate in the face of lockdowns and economic uncertainty. Despite these hurdles, the momentum of the decolonial movement in African museums shows no signs of waning. As these institutions continue to assert their rightful place as custodians and interpreters of the continent's rich cultural heritage, they are not only reshaping the global museum landscape, but also inspiring a profound reckoning with the legacies of colonialism and the urgent need for a more equitable, inclusive, and representative approach to the preservation and celebration of human history and creativity. In the years to come, as African museums continue to lead the charge in this decolonial revolution, the world will bear witness to the transformative power of these institutions to not only safeguard cultural treasures, but also catalyze social change, foster intercultural dialogue, and empower the diverse communities that have long been the rightful stewards of Africa's extraordinary